Hey, what's up, everyone? Brad Chmielewski here with episode 145 of Shatter The Vain. We're coming off the Run the Gauntlet tournament where we had a lot of very cool announcements happening with the roadmap for 2017 with the announcement of 5v5. It's coming. Talked about it a little bit on the previous episode, but because of the timer we're recording and all that, I just briefly went over it. But Woodworking and I dive into that a little bit. We dive into some of the balance changes we saw in update 2.2 that got released this previous week. Kind of go over that, kind of maybe who to look out for. Talk about Grumpjaw a little bit, how I'm a terrible Grumpjaw player right now. I can't land any of the abilities. I don't know what's up. I got to work on my Grumpjaw. And then we talk a little bit about the competitive scene because of his new role as the analyst for Ardent Esports and kind of what it means and what he's doing, and then going into the Challenger series that kicks off March 7th. So I don't know, a lot of just fun news, gameplay changes that are happening right now. Very exciting. So let's do it. Let's jump into episode 145.
Shatter the Vain, a podcast about Vainglory.
This is the 145th episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and it's a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can become better players together. And every episode, bringing on new people from the community, people that love this game, people that help, I guess, make it better, more fun, improve it, educate people, all that stuff. And this week, I have Woodworking joining me. Welcome.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I know you were recently on TDog's Alternating Current, so everyone go check that out after you finish listening to this podcast here. So I'm sure we're going to run over some of the same stuff, but for people that didn't listen to that or haven't heard of you, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Woodworking, probably most well known for my YouTube channel. I make gameplay breakdown and kind of how-to videos, more educational type content than entertainment type content. First and foremost, I'm a player of the game. That's why I've gotten to where I am with the things I do content creation wise. And then recently I got picked up as an analyst. They offered me a spot as an analyst, Ardent Esports, for their competitive team. So I've been doing that for a couple weeks. That's the overview. I'm a Vainglorious player. I have actually 2 Vainglorious accounts now. So I'm good enough to know how bad I am.
So yeah, it sounds like you have your hand in a lot of different things. I guess stepping back a little bit, and I kind of want to know more about this analyst thing. But how did you get into Vainglory to start with?
So, been like most people, I've been playing games most of my life. But once I became an adult and started doing adult things, I kind of, not purposefully, but I don't know, just real life got in the way of gaming. So I moved away from the console and computer games I was playing, and I still had that itch to play games.
Okay.
And so I picked up Clash of Clans, mobile game. And one of the YouTube content creators for that game, Jake from a clan called One Hive, made like the more competitive side, not the farming side of Clash of Clans. He made videos about it, and he made a video about Vainglory, and that's what made me give it a try. And then that's what started. Once I started playing this game, I kind of moved away from Clash of Clans and haven't really played it since.
Nice. Were you in his Vainglory guild there for a while? I know he had a guild that he was kind of running alongside, right?
Yeah, for like a month I was.
Okay.
So once I got good in, well, I mean, I was tier 6 at the time, I think, but I applied once, got denied, and then I got into it, and then he stopped playing. Like, those weren't related things, just coincidental. But he stopped playing the game right as I got in the guild, so that guild fell apart. And I've bounced around to a bunch of different guilds.
Nice. And then, so now and then you started making videos. Was it because he was making videos, or was that something you were like, also want to do this? You felt like you just had more time?
I wouldn't say it's because of him that I made them. It definitely gave me the idea that I could do it, but it wasn't until I got to like high POA that I even thought, hey, I have something to teach other people. And I just feel like even still, there's more people coming out, but there's not a lot of education-driven content on YouTube for Vainglory. So there was a void there, and my goal is to just kind of try to make the stuff I wish was around when I was trying to learn it, because there wasn't anything that I could find.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of your videos, you do like, was it one a week? Is that about what you typically do?
That was the schedule before I signed on to be the analyst, and I haven't made a video for over 2 weeks now.
Okay. But so in the past,
just way too busy with work and stuff. But yeah, it was supposed to be every Wednesday that I was going to make a video.
Okay, and so they're like how to use Fountain, things like that maybe you kind of know, but could improve too, right?
Those are the videos that take me a while.
Okay.
Because of two reasons. I'm a horrible video editor, and if you just do like a live video where you're commentating on a video or on a game while you're playing it, it doesn't take that long. It takes about the time you take to play that game, so 20 minutes. But if I make a how-to video, like the how to use Fountain of Renewal, that video probably took me 8 hours to make. Just compiling footage that like showed either good Fountain usages or bad Fountain usages, writing the script. There's just, I don't know. I'm bad at it, and there's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, I do both how-to videos, and then I'll record my games with the in-game feature, or the in-app feature, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I'll break them down like blip by blip, 45 seconds. I'll go forward and figure out something to tell you that you can learn something from. And I'm a captain main, roam main, support main, whatever you want to call it. So my videos, at least the gameplay breakdowns, are focused on how to play that role, because it's what I main, so it's what I know how to teach people about. I'm sure at lower tiers I could teach people how to play any of the roles, but so far everything's been captain focused.
Okay. Do you like the term captain, or do you prefer one of the support or roam or?
I think I default to roam most of the time, like if I'm not actually thinking about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I get why they did it. I mean, the reasoning for doing it is sound, so hopefully it has the effect that they hoped it would have. I don't really care, though.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like we've just been ingrained for so long to say one or the other. It takes time to kind of, just like the recent change we'll get to in 2.2 with the Crystal Miner change. Just the name change. Stuff like that. It messes you up for a while.
Yeah. Well, I don't shoutcast or anything, so it doesn't really affect me. If I say it wrong, most of the people I play with know what I'm talking about. So.
Understand. So then recently, when you're on Alternating Current, this analyst role for Ardent was pretty new. And so it's only been, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, something like that. No. You're in the right realm, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
So what does this entail? What is this? We've been seeing more and more analysts kind of pop up and get picked up and talk about just that happening.
I mean, maybe I'm not the best person to tell you what it entails, because I'm still not sure. Like, I don't have job duties, I guess, but I guess through breaking down film, studying stats and stuff like that, just doing whatever I can to improve the team. So the team doesn't have a coach right now, so I think a lot of what I'm doing could kind of be considered coaching too.
Okay.
And then, maybe I shouldn't say this on a public podcast, but I'm not a super numbers guy, so that my analyst specialty is probably going to be more on breaking down film, because that's what I do on my YouTube channel. That's what I'm better at, figuring out why a fight went our way or didn't go our way, rather than, hey, if you build this item in a different order,
2% more damage.
Yeah, you'll do 2.2 more HP damage. That's not the stuff you're going to get out of me, because my brain's not wired to work that way.
But both are very valuable, just having someone to go back and watch the game, either as the players do or someone with them that can be outside of those fights. Like, well, I know why I messed that up, but if someone else was like, well, you messed it up because you came in at the wrong angle and things like that.
Right. And like, even if the players know that, they're spending a lot of time playing the game, just like I am when I'm not being an analyst, but you don't have time to like go over every piece of film, and so that's kind of where I can come in and say, go to 222 in this video, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So even if that was the only thing I provided, I'm sure it would be helpful for the team. But I'm just trying to do everything I can think of that'll help. With the Challenger Series coming up, I'll be scouting other teams. All the API stuff they're putting out now is going to be really helpful for me on that end, especially for the teams that we've never heard of, which there's a lot in the Challenger Series. So I can just, go scout players, see what they like to play. Not that that's everything, but, any information is helpful at this point. So,
Did you decide to go into the analyst thing? Like, were you trying to do the esports, like professional pro gamer, but then the analyst kind of, did you not give up one versus the other?
I'm still primarily a player of this game. I think I'm getting close to like my skill cap though. I'm kind of old. I'm probably twice the age of the average Vainglory player. So
I feel that, yeah.
I don't know if it's actually true. I mean, being Vainglorious is higher than I ever even imagined I would get, so maybe not. But I just kind of enjoyed, I guess, because of like that's why I started doing that YouTube stuff, because I enjoy figuring out why things happen rather than just saying they did happen. Right. And some others, I've talked to a couple actually big orgs about doing some analyst stuff, like at the Worlds, the final championship matchup, I did on Reddit a full write-up of like every team fight that happened in those games.
Nice. Okay.
And some people that'll remain nameless hit me up and said, hey man, you should look into doing analyst stuff. Nothing ever really came of it. But then Fuji was doing, I guess, I don't know if it's a podcast, but he was doing something on Twitch where he was talking to Closet Nerd, who's leader of Team Phoenix.
Yeah, that was recently too. I think I watched a little bit of it, but missed most of it, I guess. But yeah that was a good, interesting talk.
At the time, he was looking for an analyst, and I was talking to him through Twitter, trying to talk to him anyway. I don't have a lot of time. Like, my real life time is so demanding right now that I don't have a lot of time. So I wanted to talk to him about it. I messaged him on Twitter basically saying, hey, what's the time commitment? Because they're just, I can't do things while I'm at work, certain things. He didn't get back to me, which is fine. He's a busy dude. But so he was doing like a Q&A during that podcast is why I'm bringing it up. So I tried to message a question in that, like, hey, what's a good path to get into analyst stuff? Just because it was something I was interested in.
Yeah.
And then Nikki Tsunami, who's the CEO of Ardent, like, messaged me straight away. He knew who I was because of my YouTube channel, and like just straight up offered me the analyst gig there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I didn't really follow a path, I guess.
Your path is just ask if you can be an analyst.
The only thing I will say is, so, like doing the YouTube content, I've just been doing my thing, right? I'm not doing it for any other reason other than to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it shows value that you're committed to something, even though it's not particularly being an analyst that I was doing. They can just see that there's, I don't know, something valuable in me. That I can help a team, and my game knowledge level is pretty high anyway, just because of the tier I am as a player.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I mean, anybody who's Vainglorious could probably be an analyst for maybe not like one of the top echelon pro teams, but you just need another set of eyes that's not there playing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Could be helpful for anybody, and as I do it more and more, I'm sure I'll get better and learn what the guys actually need from me.
Yeah. That's a cool role, and it's neat to see these teams picking up more analysts, because it was for so long just like, we need the best players and someone to make some graphics for it. That's all we need. Let's do this. And now they're realizing they need the coach, the analyst. It's getting a little, I guess, more professional is the best way to say it. Yeah,
definitely. And the teams that do have that are gonna, like Rogue, right? It was kind of like a gimmicky tournament, just doing like press, the little gauntlet tournament they did. But Rogue did really well, right? And they have a coach and 2 analysts, so obviously there's something to it. I don't know, and I think we'll see more and more that the teams that, not just an analyst, but the teams that have a support structure at all levels outside of actually playing the game will do well. Okay. Like we saw once TSM moved into a team house, they destroyed everybody in NA.
Yeah.
Did really well all last year, and they're still doing well. So I think we're just going to continue to see more and more of that. And I'm not a super big follower of esports in other games, but from what I understand, it's the same way in those games.
It's exhausting to follow just the one game maybe you play, and then to even attempt to follow other games. Like, I watch a little bit of League of Legends and don't play it at all, and then you start to be like, I don't know what's happening anymore. What am I doing?
Why are the shoutcasters so hyped about this?
Yeah.
Just looked like a regular kill to me.
Do you hope to are you going to start doing videos again, like with the analyst kind of angle now, or more of that?
So before I actually became an analyst for Ardent, I was going to start doing like breakdowns of the pro stuff. I probably won't now. I just don't want to step on any toes for like what I'm doing.
Okay.
But my work schedule is going to my real life work schedule is going to probably ease up a little bit in the near future. So video production should go up a lot.
Okay. Or sleep goes up, one or the other, right?
Probably not. If I know me, it should, but no. Even just getting back to 1 video a week would be nice.
Cool. I know a lot of people appreciate that, because your videos get shared and talked about, especially for Captain Rome mains out there. Everyone always has good things to say about them.
Yeah, the feedback's been kind of overwhelming, not in a bad way, in a good way. I've never thought my videos would get more than like 50 views a piece. So the attention and feedback specifically from people has been awesome.
Cool. Well, nice. So this past week, we finally got update 2.2. Should we jump into that and talk some 2.2?
Sure.
Vainglory News.
So on Wednesday, Vainglory update 2.2 got released, and with it, we got the new hero Grumpjaw. We got balance changes, map tweaks, all kinds of fun stuff. I guess to start off with, what do you think of Grumpjaw?
I haven't really seen him much.
Okay,
I played around with him a little bit in practice just to get an idea of his skills and what they do, what they sound like. I know that's kind of a weird thing to most people to hear, but like I wanted to know what his ultimate sounded like so I can block it. Because I use audio clues a lot to block things. Haven't seen him in ranked yet, and I play 8 to 10 ranked matches a day.
Okay.
I've seen some awesome highlights. Like I've seen him a couple times in Blitz. Just him carrying people back onto turrets. I'm sure there's more of that to come. Mm-hmm. Not sure he really fits into the meta, at least as it stands now, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've played him a few times in rank. Like I just play people. I don't really care if I win or lose. Like it all comes back around. So, but landing his abilities are incredibly hard. This is something that I think is going to make good Grumpjaw players stand out, because the Grumpy, it has this weird wind up where you feel like you're waiting and then you go and then you miss because they took one step away from you.
Yeah, and I also noticed when I was messing around with him in practice, you can't use that ability point blank. So they have to be, I mean, at least a meter away, to use game lingo.
Yeah. Or you end up going past them, and there was a
Right,
lot of times where I was like, I thought I hit them. Like, that just made no sense.
But that's how every skill shot hero is. I mean, if you can't land skill shots, you're not going to have any success with that hero.
True. His ultimate, I was playing him a bunch, and then I finally went into a game where I was against one. It is so confusing when you actually get eaten. You kind of are not sure what's happening, and you don't know how long it's lasting for. And it's like, let me out of here. How do I get out?
Yeah, but you like once you get eaten, you're like, all right, I'm going for a ride, right?
Yeah.
There's some weird like visual glitches with it too, which is fine. I mean, it's not affecting anything in the game, but like if you reflex block late when he eats you, your reflex bubble will show up the entire time you're inside of him, like far away from him. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, actually, I had that happen because I'm like, all right, well, I got to reflex block this getting eaten, which is very hard to do because, like a couple of the ultimates, it has two things, like a glaive knockback, where you can reflex block the knockback, or you can reflex block the stun kind of thing. But you could reflex block the charge, but you have to do it a second later to reflex block the eaten. So
Yeah, I don't see. I thought you could reflex block when you were like in the air. You know how he throws you up and then he eats you. You can't. So I tried to reflex block that part of it. You can't. And that's when I saw the reflex block like
inside
ghost floating away. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be meta. If I had to predict, I mean, I really can't predict, but I don't think he's going to be meta. That type of hero, that like tanky bruiser, isn't really meta. Mm-hmm. He seems to be a primarily weapon path build, and weapon laners are the meta right now. So I think at least in competitive, we probably won't see him too much.
Yeah, the team comp I went up against where he did win, they had the Adagio Lyra, so it was double heals for Grumpjaw, so he's not going to die, but I feel like you would be better off.
His hero type works well with that. That would make sense.
You'd be better off with Arona then do the same thing, probably better and more mobility. So.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being like a weapon jewel type build, like a lot of crit, just a really hard hitter that's like naturally tanky. I think that's the niche he'll fall into. Yeah, if I had to guess.
But yeah, I think it's just going to take some time for him to find that right position and path for people and figure it out. But he's fun. He's definitely fun and looks cool. Different. He's neat, I guess.
Yeah. Always happy to see more heroes too. And it doesn't. Even if he's not meta this patch, it doesn't take many tweaks to turn somebody that was a potato into the best thing in meta. Mm-hmm. Like Petal.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we did get a few balance changes. I don't want to like run through every stat here, but was there any that kind of jumped out at you? You mentioned Petal. Like Petal had been this force since really was it 1.9 or 2? Was it since 2.0? She's kind of like super strong. And I feel like now she's maybe not an instant ban for most tiers in that have draft mode.
Well, there's a couple things that made Petal strong. First of all, Frostburn's broken, so that'll always make Petal strong. Petal, Sky, like Frostburn's super broken on those kind of heroes. And then the changes they made to Broken Myth, like Petal stacks Broken, and this hasn't changed, but she stacks Broken Myth super fast, like faster than almost any other hero. Once they changed it from like how it used to be 5 stacks to 9 stacks now,
right?
She gets to the 9 faster than almost any other hero, and without doing anything, right? Like in my opinion, a hero that has no skill required to play shouldn't be that hard hitting.
Right. Okay.
If you want to hit that hard, then it needs to be something like you have to be good at to land. Whereas her, it's just like select a target and then walk around until they're dead.
Yeah, just keep moving around them.
I mean, there's slightly more to it than that, but you can play it that way and it'll still be viable. Mm-hmm.
Do you find that she's still strong with these like really her range was just decreased a little bit. That was kind of the only Munions
so
and
leash range kind of it still feels around the same. It's not a huge change. I mean, it's only a 10% drop.
Yeah.
And then her actual attack range was decreased quite a bit. I think she'll still be like a niche counter pick, which is probably where she should be. Whereas in the previous patches where she was really strong, she was like one of the top CP junglers against most. Like, you'd really have to counterpick her if she came out. Whereas I think she should be a hero that counterpicks others rather than something you have to counterpick. And I think they kind of were successful in that. I've seen her a couple times. I think people just don't even don't read patch notes. They're just still picking her.
Right. Because they assume she's still strong. It takes a week or so before people are like, oh, we don't need that hero.
Right. So yeah, I think we'll still see her, but more in like a B-side last pick type spot rather than like a go-to crystal jungler. Mm-hmm. You'll see her against like Alpha. All the heroes she's been good against. Then Lance, the other one that I noticed really was a big change was Lance. Lance has been my main for a long time, so obviously I'm going to be more cognizant of changes to him. Yeah. His early game damage is just super nerfed. Probably a good thing, I mean, overall for the game, even if I don't like it personally, because he just hit so hard at early game. If you could land his skill shots, which I generally could.
Yeah, when you got hit, you were like, this is just unfair. Like, what happened?
Yeah. The changes to, like, his CC duration, I don't really notice those as much as the change to his damage. Okay. So I think he's still in a good spot, but I think this patch specifically, and even last patch to some extent, the captain heroes overall are very balanced. So I'm really excited to see like the different comps we're going to see, especially like with double ban at the highest levels of competition. Mm-hmm. I mean, pretty much all the captains are viable now, other than Flicker. So
okay, what's it about Flicker that is it just not viable in competitive and maybe not solo queue because there's no coordination, I guess.
I think Flicker's pretty much not viable once you can draft.
Okay.
Because he or she, whatever it is countered too easily by vision, and then doesn't bring enough CC to actually help a team. Mm-hmm. And the ultimate is so, I mean, even if you're on Discord and you're communicating with people, it's so hard to use that effectively.
Right. And one scout trap, you guys are all over.
Right.
So.
Like the best ways I've seen it used are like backdooring, when the other team doesn't know where you are. And it's just like, that's, you compare that to the other captains and what they bring with their skill set. It's just, I don't know, it's not the right skill set for a captain, I don't think. Mm-hmm. It's like early game harass and annoyance, and then you have nothing to bring mid to late game.
Yeah. The two other captains that got changed were Fortress and Catherine, who seems like Catherine is now kind of edged her way up a little higher in the tiers.
Yeah, definitely. She might be top roam. I think Lyra's probably still going to be top roam for now, because she was last patch, at least at competitive levels, and they didn't change her, I don't think.
No, nothing got changed. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's still going to be top tier. And then, the changes to Catherine, especially her bubble, that might be the only thing they changed. I can't remember. I know they changed the damage dealt by her bubble.
Yeah, there was little tweaks to a lot of her abilities, but the bubble damage is up across the board. So.
Yeah. Oh, and they changed the duration on her silence. So, I've been playing her a lot actually this patch just to see where she's at, and she's going to be top tier roam, top 3 for sure. Mm-hmm.
I was playing a lot of Fortress towards the end of 2.1 and now into 2.2 because he got kind of buffed, and people they forgot how to play against Fortress, I feel.
Right. Well, it's that, and I think a lot of the players, I mean, those of us that have been around for more than a year remember when Fortress was everything.
Yeah.
When you popped wolves and you won fights. So we kind of remember how good he could be. But yeah, the players that, never played during that meta, just they don't even think of him as a choice because he hasn't been for so long.
True.
But yeah, I think he's in a really good spot now. Been messing around with him. Even as a jungler, I think we'll see him as a niche pick jungler. Um, his bleed and mortal wound are really effective, especially because we have healers across the board now. So
Right. That's
I think we'll
why.
see quite a bit of Fortress.
Yeah, that's why I started to pick him up there at the end because Lyra and Adagio coming out more and more. It's like, well, I'll just go with this dude and kind of stop that whole healing thing in its tracks.
Right. Yeah. And it does. I mean, it nerfs the healing so much. If you ever get a chance, you listeners, apply Mortal Wound with any of the heroes you can do it with, or Poison Shiv, and watch the difference in how much health is gained back from Fountain versus when you don't do it. It'll blow your mind a little bit if you've never paid attention to it.
Nice. And then last one just to talk about here, Ringo. Like how can they fix Ringo here from not being this top pick? Like I would have thought he was deadly in 2.1, and I would have thought we would have saw a little bit more of a nerf to him, and really it was just so slight that I don't think affected him enough.
Yeah, so Vox and Ringo were like super top tier roamers, laners, carries, whatever it's called. Last patch, they technically nerfed both of them. They're still strong. I think they're in a better place for sure.
Okay.
But they're still really strong. And I think it seems like with nerfs, especially with a hero that wasn't in meta and then they buffed, they're really hesitant to like do a hard nerf on them because they just brought them back into meta and they don't want to take them right back out of it.
Okay.
I'm assuming. I don't do hero balances, but
it sounds incredibly hard. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. So I think they're hesitant to, just wipe them off across the board. But yeah, you're right. I think Ringo and Vox are still going to be the top dogs, especially for weapon laners.
For sure, yeah. So yeah, there was a few others, but you can definitely go read the patch notes. I don't want to go through all the stats here and everything. One of the big changes that I experience quite a bit is because I solo queue most of the time is this upgrading to matchmaker.
You poor thing.
I like the pain, and then I can just it's all my fault. I'll just blame myself, and I can't get mad at friends or anything.
I actually streamed yesterday, and I played. One of my teammates' name was Literal, and all he did was walk over into the lane, their side, and stand there until he died. He had like 16 deaths at like 8 minutes.
So he was worth no money after like 3 or 4. So it doesn't really
No, they changed the way the kills work, so it's always 200 every single kill. So he's just feeding them gold.
Man, but
anyways.
in 2.2, you're not supposed to now, as a solo queue player, get matched against pre-made parties of 3. So threes, it should only be 3s versus 3s happening when you queue up. That seems like a better thing, especially because most of the higher tier POA Vainglorious people were doing parties anyway. And if you were one of those unlucky people who got against them and then maybe had like another person of your skill tier and a lower person, you got rolled over very fast.
Yeah, it's definitely a move in the right direction. I don't know if that's true actually. That most of the higher tier players play in a party.
Okay, you think most
that
of them...
hasn't been my experience.
No, okay.
Queue times are long now, and they were long before. Whereas now with the solo queue, they queue fast.
Okay.
I pretty much only solo queue when I stream, but they're really fast.
Let's go.
There's problems with just to talk about it generally. There's problems with the system, but I really think it's a move in the right direction and a change that needed working on. In fact, in that podcast you mentioned, the one I did before this one, I brought up that queue was broken.
just because of this, or?
Yeah, so Well, yeah, the things that you said, like it's really hard, even as a duo queue, to queue into a full party that's communicating or has synergy together and try to compete against them. Like you're already at such a disadvantage just off the board right there.
Right. Yep. I have noticed in the few games I've been playing, seems to be like a few more people who either feed or a higher increase of AFK is happening too. That could also be a stability thing when a patch drops in the first like week. There's sometimes little hiccups too. So that's hard to say.
I have a separate theory about it.
Oh, okay.
I think all the trolls, or most of the trolls, are. You want to be on camera? Are centralized. Well, they solo queue, right? So because you're only playing with solo queuers now and duo queuers, you're seeing more conglomerate of people AFKing.
Okay. You wonder how they can be in that tier. They have to play correct some games, but then they just it's crazy.
I have lots of theories about this. So here's what I think. Here's why I think that happens. So people get to a certain point where they either can't get any higher or they get frustrated and they realize they can't get any higher. And because they get angry at the game, it turns into, all right, this isn't fun for me anymore. And because they're immature, for whatever reason, they decide that ruining other people's time is fun.
Right.
And then that's how a troll is born. That's the birth of a troll. Once you decide that wasting other people's time or making other people have a bad time is fun, you're now a troll.
Okay.
And there's no penalties for trolling in Vainglory, so.
No, downvotes really don't matter and all that stuff. So
yeah, I'm not shy about it. They do nothing.
Yeah, that system needs to be improved. That should be next on the list.
I agree.
So that's I guess the most basic stuff in 2.2. We did see this crazy hotfix happen because I know a couple things. The range on Taka's A was incredibly long. I think I played Taka and I didn't even like think about it when I was playing him the first time, and then seeing all the videos pop up where he could clear almost the entire lane just
Taka
with one
players were so happy for a day. So happy. I hate Taka. Yeah, they were so happy for a day. I actually thought he would be a bigger part, or at least I'd see him more often than I have been. Like, because I didn't feel like he needed a buff, and they gave him a pretty significant one. He is Captain Nito's favorite hero, so I'm assuming that's why.
They accidentally snuck this in, and he's got a decent skin in this, so he's getting a little more play. So people like to play the new skins, so that's maybe why he's been popping up a little bit, but not as much. And now the A is fixed. Samuel C stunning was stunning instead of putting people to sleep. I don't think I noticed this, but
didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it in the hot fix, but I didn't even see it live before they fixed it.
And then another one I saw a lot of people talking about was Ozo's A was taking energy use on every bounce. So you would basically be out of energy after a bounce.
Nice.
So glad to see that they can do these fixes without taking down the whole game. I think they've figured some of this out a little bit.
Yeah. That's what hot fixes are for. They haven't done them very often. There's only been like 4 of them, I think. I know the last one I remember was Kestrel's Glimmer Shot or something was just doing ridiculous. It still does ridiculous damage, but it was like broken damage.
Yeah. And then, so we were talking about the Run the Gauntlet tournament that happened last weekend. We also got this announcement of the 2017 roadmap. This I think lived up to the hype a little bit. I was kind of on the last episode with Jinka, before I was like, this could kind of just be a bust. This might not be that interesting, but it was pretty exciting. Did you check out the roadmap video that they put out?
I did not. I watched the live. I guess if that's what the video is, if it's straight off their
it was straight off
Twitch thing. Okay, yeah, I watched it live. I was a little disappointed. I'm surprised you think it lived up to the hype, only because like all the hype was about 5v5,
right?
right? Like that was the thing most people were talking about. And then during it, they didn't show a single like video of 5v5. It was just 5 heroes standing next to 5 other heroes, like in the center of the lane.
True.
Like, this isn't exciting. Like, show me some 5v5, even if it's not ready yet. But even if you have the engine, like, able to have 5v5 fights, just show me that so I can get hyped about it. I was disappointed by that, and then, like, not that I need them to put a definite timeline, but they basically said, yeah, if this happens at all this year, it's not going to be until the end of the year. It's
Right.
like, well, all right, I was excited, but now I'm going to forget about it for 7 months. And
Right. Well, I thought the 5v5 is basically going to be like, yeah, we're putting into fun game mode. Blitz is now 5v5. There you go. Like I thought it was
I
going
didn't
to
even consider that.
I thought it was going to be like a basically a troll move on them. Like, all right, you can do that. Ha, that's the 5v5, and then people kind of get pissed and
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess that does live up to the hype if that's what you thought was probably what they're gonna do. No, I figured like because they try to emulate other MOBAs like the successful ones, and 5v5 makes them a little more legitimate. So I figured it was going to be a competitive like 5v5. I mean, they'll still surely have 3v3, but I think the competitive side of it will move towards 5v5. He never wants to be over here, but now that I'm doing this, he's all about this.
oh, good. Are you excited for 5v5, or do you kind of just like the 3v3 game mode?
So, Vainglory is my first MOBA. I've never played or really watched any others. I mean, I know about them, but I've never spent any time learning about them. So I'm excited. I like Vainglory. I understand the game pretty well. I'm sure if I was used to 5v5 from other things, I would, like overall tactics and stuff, I would get a better grasp of, but I'm excited about it.
Okay.
Anything that adds more positions for competitive players, I'm excited about.
Yeah, it should be interesting, but yeah, I think having it set for basically probably when 3.0 is released, it sounds like.
I think you're very right about that. Yeah,
We need
probably right around Worlds.
Yeah, like we need more. We need a lot more heroes. We need a lot more items. We need better devices too, because most people are not going to be able to play a 5v5 on their phone unless they have the last phone or iPad or tablet in the last like year or 2 years, because it's going to be heavy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about the device end of it. I mean, I play on a iPhone 6s Plus, so it's relatively better device than probably most of the player base. Something I never even considered.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But yeah, I think you're really right about 3.0. Why wouldn't you drop that during like a huge update?
Yeah.
And while you're trying, like, they seem to time hyped up things with like the competitive side of it, because they're very, very big into esports. So doing that announcement when you're doing like Worlds and stuff would make sense.
Especially if we continue to see the game grow and the hype and the orgs are there and the coverage is there. Hey, here's 3.0 preview. 5v5 will be in it. So that's
So it's either that or they drop it in like, if it's maybe way more ready than they let on, which is possible, they drop it in like summer so that Worlds can be 5v5.
Ooh, okay.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing in this announcement that I'm still not super clear on are these like Blitz ability tokens or skill upgrades that you can kind of get. It sounds like the more you play these battle modes, you get extra enhanced abilities where you can have things where Celeste can drop Heliogenesis that swirl around her and just crazy things.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the kind of footage I wanted when they said the 5v5. It's like, show me some actual footage of it. But yeah, that seems cool. I think Blitz was, I don't know why, but why they didn't think it was going to be so big, but I think Blitz was like way bigger than they thought it was going to be.
Well,
maybe they thought it was just going to be like Battle Royale, but it's not. It's what they've needed. And everything Battle Royale wasn't and shouldn't have been. Yeah, well, I think is what Blitz is.
Battle Royale just seemed like a copy of the other MOBAs ARAM kind of modes, so
Okay.
it wasn't
Yeah, see, I didn't even
wasn't
know about
unique.
the
So
other stuff. My take on it was I can't pick my hero, so I can't truly like get competitive about it. And it's a lane only normal mode. That's the way I looked at it. Whereas Blitz is like maximum timer, which is super important for Vainglory as a mobile game. Like forget that it's a MOBA. As a mobile game, even 15 minutes, 10 minutes is too long for the minimum mode, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think that was a big part of its success. And then I mean it's just fun. It's fun to like just automatically be able to buy 2 items and be at level 9. Um,
it's
which is
it's neat to just go try things like you were saying. You were trying Grump Draw in practice, but it's like let's
right.
just go into Blitz mode and play Grump Draw and like try out some builds that I think could work and whatever.
Yeah,
It's
that's
5
a good
minutes of my
point.
time.
And then like if you're a captain and you need to work on blocking, like what better way to get some reps in doing that? Or if you want to try like forget a different hero, but if you want to try a different build on a hero and see what kind of damage it does, it's good for that.
So
Yeah.
both Battle Royale and Blitz, it sounds like are getting their own maps at some point too. So that'll be interesting for Blitz. Battle Royale is just going to be some sort of single lane kind of thing. But Blitz, if it has a different map than the normal map, that kind of adds like an entirely different gameplay to it.
Yeah, I think that's a good direction. It's not what I do in the game. I do play Blitz. I haven't played a battle royale since like I couldn't even tell you May.
Okay.
But I play Blitz semi regularly. I guess probably 1 Blitz a day.
Okay.
But yeah, that sounds exciting. I think I mean, battle royale even is still really popular mode. I think at player base as a whole, there's way more people playing that than like ranked, for instance,
I think so, yeah.
which is pretty much all I play. So I'm not a good gauge of what
Of
they
the
should
other modes,
be
yeah.
on.
And then one other thing they showed off was the hero dances. It looks like they're finally, I don't know, they've been in the game, or they were in the game, then they were taken out, and they said they were coming back, and it's almost this constant tease of hero dances are coming back, and but they showed those off a little bit too.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't. You brought it up, but we didn't really talk about it. The extra like tokens or items.
Yeah.
I thought that was something cool. It's like, I don't know. It's gonna isolate those game modes as actually something different, rather than game modes with a different set of rules.
Right.
Like, it's cool to be able to do. And then the big part about all this stuff that some people don't think about is highlights and videos of things like that happening, like getting a triple kill. If you're actually able to get a triple kill with using an ability on 3 different spots when you normally can't do that. I don't know, that gets people hyped up about the game. They like that kind of stuff.
And it's going to make people play more Blitz, because if you get in a Blitz game, you're like, what? This is not fair that this Gwen could do these extra things and I can't. I have nothing. I'm just like the normal plain hero. You're going to be like, well, now I got to play a lot of Blitz so I get these tokens and upgrade my abilities.
Yeah.
It's a good gamification of the game, I guess.
Makes people want to play.
Well,
Always a good thing for a game.
yeah. So, yeah, check out that video. There's a link in the show notes. I'm sure it got shared, and if you haven't watched it yet, you need to check it out. And the last bit of news, I know you mentioned this earlier, was the Challenger series is starting. It's starting March 7th, so just a couple days from when we're recording this. And again, it's going to work the same way where Vainglory League runs the EU side and VIS runs the NA side. And yeah, this is cool. The Challenger series is kind of starting before the actual Vainglory 8 is, and these are kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think, like Vainglory 8 it used to be, so there was, 3 or 4 teams that were the top, and then everybody else was just happy to be there. Whereas now it seems like, we'll see, time will tell, but it seems like everybody's legitimately going to have a chance. And then what happens with that is there's a lot of competitive teams in challengers too. And you saw in the invitational series that teams were taking games off of like these, professional teams that have been at the professional level for a long time, playing together. They're the people that are actually doing this for a living versus, trying to get to that point. So that's kind of cool.
I tend
more competition's always good.
I tend to watch the Challenger Series when it gets closer to the end, because those are like the best they're the best teams, although most of them are very, very good, but the ones you end up hearing about that maybe stick together make it towards the end. So that's
yeah.
And like we said earlier, it's hard to watch lots of esports.
Yeah, and I've been a fan of the competitive side of it, so I'll watch. In the past, I would watch I wouldn't watch them all, but if I had the time, I would catch it. But now, as an analyst, there's a lot more film I need to watch, and that's cool. I have a better reason to watch it now, so I'm kind of excited about that. Cool. It's like the part of the analyst job that I really enjoy is the breaking down film. So it'll be fun to have to watch all the
I have a reason I gotta watch these games. It's kind of what I do
work.
now. Yeah.
I'm not doing this for fun. I hate this.
So get ready for those March 7th. They kick off. EU's usually, if you're in an A, it's in the morning. So, and then VIS kind of happens at night. Not sure if VIS is going to be back on Twitch with the Vainglory League. I don't think that's clear yet if they're going to be a mob crush. So I think they've been experimenting with getting back on Twitch. Hopefully we see this Challenger Series.
On the link, there was a link for both the Twitch and the mob crush. So hopefully they'll dual cast it.
Nice. Nice. Well, that's going to do it for episode 145 Woodworking. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, where can people find you? Twitter is the best place, or?
So my Twitter's Woodworking VG. YouTube is Woodworking Vainglory. YouTube.com/Woodworking Vainglory. And that's pretty much it. I had a Patreon for a while, but now that I'm doing the analyst stuff, I don't really have time for the Patreon. But that's fine. Yeah. Should have some more videos coming out soon. I already have the script written for a how to use Crucible and when to use Crucible video. People have been asking for a long time. So if that's something you're interested in, should be coming out on my channel in the next month, hopefully.
Cool. Check that out. I'll have links in the notes in the description. So go subscribe, follow, all that good stuff.
Yeah, he's better at promoting me than I am. Thanks.
Then Shatter The Vain's on Twitter at Shatter The Vain, website shatterthevain.com. All the episodes get posted there, links to iTunes, Stitcher, the YouTube version as well. And be back with 126 next, or 146. I guess I need to have a non-YouTuber on, since now I had Jinko on and now you, but you're analyst and YouTuber, so we need to mix it up for 146.
Use whichever side of me you need.
There we go. All right. Take care.
Let's get this over with.